But let's take the discussion forward after budget announcements that have come through with Mr. Sajid Malik, the CMD at Genesys International, joining us on the show. Mr. Malik, hi, good to be speaking with you. Well, one thing that caught our attention yesterday in the overall budget speech was the fact that land records will be digitized with GIS mapping. Of course, it's a sweeping change with respect to the land records, but for your business, GIS mapping, of course, is your mainstay. Could you help us understand what kind of potential could be there? What's the market size of the opportunity? How much can come your way?
Thank you for asking that. Land records or land titling is a fundamental fabric of ease of doing business or the functioning of a society. What we have done in Genesys is that we have created our National Urban Digital Twin program, which, as your viewers can see on the screen, is an accurate 3D digital model, which can be at an engineering grade data set, which can be used to modernize all land records in this country. Now, you need to remember that currently the records that we have, and most of us may have experienced it some way, have been kept in a very antiquated system. Most of these records are, when they were done during British times, in some cases even before that. You can see here, this is an example of a land record which is there. And this has, resulted in almost 1/4 of all the cases in Supreme Court are got to do with land disputes. 66% of all the civil suits have got to do with land disputes. Why is this happening? This is happening because land records are not being maintained with up-to-date technology in our country. And I'm glad to say that now, thanks to the new geospatial policy, our company has been, investing in creating digital content for all the urban cities. And we are in a position, therefore, to modernize this very important aspect of our country, that is the land records modernization using our platform. So we have done multiple cities up till now. It's important to remember that, India is a very large country. We have both urban and rural areas, and land records are important in the entire country. So therefore, the need of doing this is large. The budgets which have been allocated, though we haven't seen the fine print of the budget, is also going to be substantial, because in the past, what was the National Land Record Modernization Program? There was almost allocation of a few thousand crores for this. So we would imagine that this would be in the lines of something similar. The government has taken several initiatives, in terms of advancing the ecosystem so that basically any technology which enables property administration, property management is introduced in the functioning of the urban cities or the state governments or the central government in question. So you can see from some of the work that we have done, your viewers on the screen, that this lends itself to a big jump in terms of the current state of things and the proposed state of things.
Sure. Sajid, I want to come to a little more specifics. We clearly understand, there's a very large size of opportunity. Is there a gap in the system? Yes, there is, which needs to be addressed, and very few companies such as yours who are capable enough to do it. But what I want to know is, with this visibility now at the horizon, at more work coming, tenders would be, given out from the government side. Have you done any initial back of the envelope calculations? What kind of new orders would you start getting in? What time frame would that be captured into the company?
No, I think, Ajay, there is in the past, there were budgets of almost running into thousands of crores, which were there for the states in terms of the National Land Record Modernization Program. It was clearly obvious to everyone who was involved in infrastructure development, but the single biggest block in terms of effective implementation of many infrastructure projects was land acquisition. The single biggest block in land acquisition was, lack of having proper land records, and therefore the ensuing litigation which happened. I'm also given to understand that, lack of proper survey data is resulting sometimes in land acquisition excess by the government running into tens of thousands of crores. This is the kind of impact that land titling has in the functioning of the economy.
No, I get that
It will
point.
not be out of the question that the budgets for this would be running into thousands of crores for doing it. Purely because of the size of our country.
No, I get that. No, Mr. Malik, I get that. Of course, it will need thousands of crores of investment. What I'm trying to understand is how much comes to you, because right now your run rate in terms of the annual revenue, if I have it right, is 200 odd crores. Last year, the growth was just around 10%, though the margins had increased to 41%. What's the anticipation of when the company can hit, let's say, 500 crores or 1,000 crores with margins of around 40%?
Right. So, as you rightly said, that the runway is pretty large. The new geospatial policy is one way, which happened around 18 months ago, is what really opened up the sector. And the government has estimated by the year 2030, they estimate the need for GIS services and technologies to be in the region of 30,000 crores a year. That's the estimate by the government. Now, whether it will be 10,000 crores a year or 50,000 crores a year is going to be a function of A, innovation done by the ecosystem itself, which means companies such as us, and B, of course, budgets being laid down by various sectors. So our model is to, in the last 2 years, we have been investing in actually creating the content and the capability. We are expecting that from the current year onwards, we expect adoption to begin. There have been several, we've been working in the land records area, and clearly, as you can see from the screen, we are now, this is an existing data set that we have, that we are in a position, therefore, to offer these land records off the bat. So now the entire cycle in terms of execution or in terms of adoption of this technology changes because we as a company are creating this content. Now, we have seen historically in the mapping industry that markets tend to follow the platform. Once the data exists, the markets start coming up. We have been in this quandary in our country that this data did not exist, and therefore there's been a huge gap in terms of execution or adoption of this technology. So all this is changing. And therefore, we see far more traction coming in.
Okay, Mr. Malik, on that note, we'll let you go. Thanks so much for making time and speaking with us. But
if you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.